Jordan Lesley, you're fired. I tried to do that in my Vince McMahon voice, but it didn't quite come out right. Jordan Lesley is fired as defensive coordinator at West Virginia. What does it mean for the program? What does it mean for the future of Neal Brown? And what are my thoughts on it? We'll talk about all of that in this episode, which is brought to you by Cats, Cantor, Stone Street, and Buckner and BetUS Online Sportsbook and Casino. And stick around after this word from one of those sponsors, and we'll talk about it. Since 1931, the attorneys at Cats, Cantor, Stone Street, and Buckner have been the voice for victims who have suffered serious injury or death. They have a fierce passion for truth and justice and a sincere compassion for those who have been wronged by others. Whether you have been in a car accident or fighting with an insurance company, or you or a loved one has suffered serious injury or death due to medical negligence, we will ensure your voice is heard loud and clear. Cats, Cantor, Stone Street, and Buckner will ensure there is justice for all West Virginians because we are your lawyer, your voice. Visit us at yourlawyeryourvoice.com. What is up, and welcome into another edition of Couz's Corner. Belly yourself up to the bar. Let me pour you out this shot of top-shelf college football news and analysis. This episode centers around the West Virginia Mountaineers and the firing of defensive coordinator Jordan Lesley. Before I get into the meat and potatoes of the show, I do want to say, yes, I did the Vince McMahon "you're fired" thing at the beginning. It was lighthearted, and I've seen some people mocking Coach Lesley on Twitter. Let's not do that, man. Was it the right move? I think it absolutely was. The defense had been playing really bad, especially the pass defense. The defense had been a big issue for this team the last couple of, or at least 2 out of the last 3 years anyway. And I think it had held the program back a little bit, to be honest with you. And I think it was the right move. However, Jordan Lesley's a human being. He has a family. This is not going to be an easy time for them. And I ask Mountaineer Nation to please be respectful. It's okay for us to agree with the move, but not attack Jordan Lesley as a man, as a father, and make it personal. Okay, that's all I'm asking. But as far as on the football field, I do think this was the right move to make. I think it was, to be honest with you, I thought it was a little overdue. I thought it should have been done earlier in the year, if not a couple of years ago, to be honest. This West Virginia defense kind of started its downhill slide in 2022. They were a little better last year, thanks in a large part to Beanie Bishop, to be honest. And then this year they took another steeper dive and went downhill really fast. So, especially on that back end in the pass defense. And Jordan Lesley has to be held accountable for that. Neal Brown even made a couple comments in his previous press conference that kind of hinted at the fact that, yeah, there were some coaching decisions that I didn't agree with in this last game, like having Trey Lathan guard arguably the best receiver in the country twice, right? Not a good decision. Not sure why it does that. It's Apple for you, right? But nonetheless, I do agree with the decision. I wish Jordan Lesley well. He represented the program well. He seems like a good human being for all I can tell. So I do wish him future success. I just don't think it needs to be at West Virginia because it just wasn't working. Bottom line. Now, let's go ahead and read the announcement. Well, we don't even need to read it. I'll put a link in the description box to the WV Sports Now article with Neal Brown's announcement of it. Most of you have probably already read it by now or heard about it. There's no reason to bore you with that. Then what I'm going to talk about next is his replacement, Jeff Koonz. And if you look at this, a couple intriguing things. Number one, Shadon Brown was the co-defensive coordinator on this staff. He's not getting promoted. To me, that's eye-opening. It makes me wonder, is Shadon Brown next on the chopping block? Is he the next shoe to drop as far as coaches being fired at West Virginia? Heck, he might get fired before this video is published. I don't know. But it wouldn't surprise me to see that happen. Because if they had confidence in Shadon Brown and didn't think he was part of the problem, why would they not promote him to DC over Jeff Koonz, who wasn't a DC? He was a linebackers coach and special teams coordinator. But Jeff Koonz basically surpassed Shadon Brown and took over the DC role. Now, I don't think Shadon Brown should have got promoted, but it is interesting to know that he was the co-DC in title. But with the issues in that secondary, will he be the next shoe to drop? Maybe. It's hard to tell. But when you look at Jeff Koonz, I like the move. The linebacker room has played pretty well, especially considering their age. He was a crucial part in recruiting Josiah Trotter to Morgantown. I'm sure he played a role in recruiting Trey Lathan. I think that room has really performed well, especially considering their age. Even as a younger position room, they've outperformed a lot of the older position rooms on the team. And I think he deserves some credit for that. Special teams has performed fairly well, especially at the specialist spots. Casey Legg was good. Now Michael Hayes has performed well. The last two punters West Virginia's had have performed pretty well. You've got the holder. Austin Brinkman might be the best holder in the country. Long snapper. Austin Brinkman may be the best in the country. So have they had their share of blunders? Absolutely. But overall, I think special teams has performed at a pretty high level. So I like the move. And when you look at Jeff Koonz's track record, you could actually make the argument that he was more qualified to be defensive coordinator than Jordan Lesley was. Jordan Lesley was an assistant at Troy and an assistant at the junior college level. Now, he was DC at the junior college level at East Mississippi Community College. But he was never a DC or even a co-DC at the FBS level, as far as I know. Definitely not the Power 4 level. But when you look, as a matter of fact, he had never even been on a staff at the P4 level. When you look at Jeff Koonz's track record, here's the schools he's coached at: Auburn, Texas, Louisiana Tech, Cincinnati, North Texas, Ole Miss, and now West Virginia. Not counting Cincinnati because they weren't P4 at the time. He's been at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Power 4 level schools. Not even counting Cincinnati because they weren't, like I said, they weren't P4 at the time. He's coached under Mack Brown. He was on the Texas staff as a grad assistant the year they won the national championship. He was on Gene Chiswick's staff at Auburn when they won the SEC championship. He's coached again in the SEC at Ole Miss for a year. So he knows what it takes to win at a high level. He knows the type of roster you have to put together. He knows the type of he's worked under multiple coaches, so he knows how different people do it. He's worked under Tommy Tuber. I said Gene Chiswick. It was actually Tommy Tuberville, I believe, he coached under. Anyway, he's coached for Tommy Tuberville, Gene Chiswick. He's coached under Mack Brown. So he's coached under a lot of coaches, some really good coaches. And I like the move. I think Jeff Koonz, when you listen to him in press conference, you can tell he's very bright. He's got a good football mind. Players seem to really respect him and like him. And someone asked me on social media, well, Couz, who do you think should be the permanent DC? It's too early to tell. If all of a sudden you see West Virginia come out these last 4 games and they have made a complete 180 on defense, and you can tell that the move made a difference, then maybe you keep him on, assuming Neal Brown stays on after the season. Maybe Jeff Koonz becomes your permanent full-time defensive coordinator. I would not have issue with that if the defense makes a turn. Obviously, you can't bring in an outside guy in the middle of the season, so the hire had to come from internal, had to be internal, so it makes sense. I like the move. Definitely didn't want Shadon Brown promoted because, like I said, the secondary has underperformed. So Jeff Koonz, likely your next best option there because of the experience he has. Andrew Jackson, I think, is a great coach, but I just don't think he is ready yet. He doesn't have the experience yet to be a defensive coordinator. But I do like what Jeff Koonz has done in Morgantown. Now, in the next segment, I'm going to talk about what this means or don't mean for Neal Brown. So stick around after I tell you a little bit about BetUS and the special they're running. Right now, if you're looking for a new sportsbook, look no further than our friends over at BetUS Online Sportsbook. At BetUS, you get a 150% sign-up bonus on your very first deposit with promo code YouTube150. Promo code YouTube150, 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit. You get 125% bonus on your next 2 deposits, up to $2,000. Make sure you play responsibly if you do play, and you also must be 18 years of age or older. Take advantage of that offer today. All right. Now, what does this mean for Neal Brown's future? I don't think it really means anything. I still think Neal Brown could either save or lose his job based on how the season plays out. This team has a chance to be 8-4. There's an extremely long shot chance that they can get in the Big 12 title game. It's, like I said, maybe 1 in 10 million. They have to have a ton of help. That would have to be complete chaos for them to even have a shot at it. But there is an outside shot. Okay, it's not completely impossible. But if they win out, they finish 8-4, which is what I predicted. They get a decent bowl game. I still think Neal Brown is the coach at West Virginia next year. He might even be the coach if they finish 7-5. Now, a lot of it may hinge on what happens here with this Jeff Koonz decision. We'll see. Now, if the team continues to if they struggle down the stretch and only win 1 or 2 of these last 4 games, then I still think West Virginia could potentially be looking for a new coach next year. But here's the thing: I don't think Neal Brown, Wren Baker, in my opinion, will do everything he can to justify keeping Neal Brown because of the expense of firing him. I mean, they would have to pay him $9.5 to $10 million of a buyout for him to walk away or to send him packing. And I just don't think with this house settlement stuff coming down the pipeline, it's going to cost West Virginia at least $20 million plus per year. Plus, you've got the $144 million in debt the athletic department has that they have to pay off somehow. I mean, they do not want to have to pay Neal Brown to not coach. It's probably the last thing they want to do, despite all the fan noise, despite folks like me being aggravated, despite billboards, all of that. If Neal Brown finishes this season 7-5 or 8-4, I don't think he's going anywhere. Period. I don't care. A lot of you may be mad with me saying that. And I'm just telling you, I'm not saying that's what I want. I'm telling you, I think that's what we should expect. We need to live in reality here. I don't think Wren Baker is going to be able to justify to Gordon Gee and the board firing a football coach for being 7-5 or 8-4 when you have to pay him a $10 million buyout. I just don't, and I know it might not be exactly 10, I'm rounding up, but nonetheless, you get my point. So, and this might be a move potentially. And also, this is Neal Brown also proving to Wren and others that he will do whatever it takes to win. Maybe that's also the case here. We'll see. He did fire his buddy. It's something he's been criticized for, that he wouldn't fire his buddies. He just did it. So kudos to Neal for making the tough decision. I wish he'd have done it sooner, to be honest. But nonetheless, he made it. I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think about this move? What do you think it means for the future of Neal Brown? Who do you think should be the permanent DC at West Virginia? And do you like the placement of Jeff Koonz as the interim DC, at least for the rest of this? I don't. They didn't use the word interim. Neal Brown didn't use the word interim. I used it. But I want to hear what you think. I want to give a shout out to my VIP members of this episode: Dustin Saltz, Houston Cougars, Germany; Timothy Hetrick Jr., Denny Allen, Tom Dean, and Shaggy of WV. If you want to join this club, hit the join button below or hit it on my homepage beside my profile photo and take advantage of the perks. There are 2 levels: the pub level and the club level. You can check out the prices and the perks. Have the prices on the screen. You can also check out the perks on my when you hit the join button. It'll tell you what all the perks are. Also, I talked about WV Sports Now. If you want to take advantage of an offer they have right now in partnership with Couz's Corner, go to WV Sports Now. Get access to their behind-the-scenes content and their ad-free content by signing up for the Holler. If you use promo code Couz, C-O-U-Z, at checkout, you will get a 40% discount on a 1-year membership to the Holler at WV Sports Now. It's Mike Ostie, formerly Ethan Bach, Cody Nesper now, and that crew over there at WV Sports Now. So take advantage of that with promo code Couz today. Thank them for partnering with me on that offer. I want to remind you that I'm now the Couz's Corner Network, or the Hoops from the Hills, rather, is now part of the Couz's Corner Network. If you want your West Virginia basketball fix, you can come and check myself, Shauna Rose, and Zach Siegel out for content over there. We will be doing more and more content as we get into college basketball season. I want to remind you to please support my sponsors, BetUS Online Sportsbook and Casino. And if you need a medical malpractice attorney or personal injury attorney in the state of West Virginia or Virginia, check out Katz, Cantor, Stone Street, and Buckner at 304-999-HURT or yourlawyeryourvoice.com. Thank you for tuning into the show. If you want to check out another show, look at the one in the corner of your screen right here. I hope the rest of your day is top shelf and Q Country Roads.